Traditional horror typically relies on the vampire, the werewolf, or the ghost. These creatures share a common purpose. They represent a physical or moral threat to the human body. In a way, these monsters are reassuring. They operate in domestic settings, have recognizable motivations, and follow predictable rules. A werewolf is bound by the moon. A ghost is anchored to its death. Over a century ago, a new wave of writers began to abandon these constraints. They developed a genre that moved past physical safety to target our basic perception of reality. Where a classic monster endangers the individual, these stories challenge the assumption that the natural world follows fixed, human-friendly laws. They suggest that the logic we use to make sense of the world can be suspended or defeated. By the late 19th century, readers were growing tired of standard haunted houses. The Gothic ghost story had become a set of predictable tropes that no longer unsettled the public. Edgar Allan Poe was among the first to push back, seeking a type of supernatural fiction that functioned differently than the traditional Gothic mode. Arthur Machen moved the genre further from standard spirits, replacing them with unexplainable mythologies that felt older and more dangerous than a simple haunting. Algernon Blackwood continued this trend, focusing on a sense of breathless dread found in a nature that was essentially incomprehensible to the people traversing it. Decades later, cultural theorist Mark Fisher defined the core of this movement by a specific type of presence, that which does not belong. These pioneers demonstrated that fear can emerge without a recognizable predator. It can stem from an encounter with an anomaly, a moment that signals human knowledge has reached its limit. The mechanical difference here is one of directionality. Standard horror moves inward. It targets the body to provoke a physiological reaction. The weird moves outward. It emanates from the world to unsettle our understanding of existence itself. This outward trajectory naturally replaces local spirits with unknown natural or alien forces that are too vast to be fully grasped. This approach reached a peak in the 1920s and 30s, fueled by the pulp magazine Weird Tales and the work of H.P. Lovecraft. By shifting the focus from personal survival to cosmic incomprehension, these writers established a path for dark fiction that the traditional Gothic mode could not reach. Lovecraft argued that a story only truly belongs to this genre if it possesses an atmosphere of unexplainable dread regarding outer, unknown forces. This philosophy eventually crystallized into the subgenre we now call cosmic horror. At its core is the terrifying realization that humanity is entirely insignificant within a vast and indifferent universe. Cosmic horror works by highlighting our smallness, turning our insignificance into a source of existential dread. After the pulp era, the survival of these stories fell to independent publishers and small archives, who preserved the genre through the mid-20th century. But over time, the genre risked becoming a pastiche of itself, a collection of predictable stories about tentacled monsters. In the 1990s and 2000s, writers like China Miéville helped launch the new weird, injecting the genre with a more transgressive, surreal energy. Authors like Jeff Vandermeer pulled the genre out of dusty historical settings and placed it into subverted urban and modern environments. The genre survived by constantly breaking the established rules of science fiction and fantasy, proving that the weird must redefine itself to remain effective. Today, that evolution has moved into digital spaces. The internet provides a modern landscape for these themes to flourish. Algorithmic dead spaces, AI-generated anomalies, and empty digital landscapes have become our newest iterations of that which does not belong. These digital liminal spaces evoke the same existential awe that the pioneers of the genre sought over a century ago. Weird fiction functions as a lens for looking past our own experiences. By stripping away human-centric assumptions, it leaves us to confront the silence of an incomprehensible universe.